If they would ever see this day. That's what family and friends of Crystal Rogers had to say as all three suspects were in the same courtroom in the murder and disappearance case.
WDRB's Fallon Glick and Valerie Chen were in court today, breaking it all down for us. Guys, it's nearly 9 years in the making.
Since 2015, people have wanted answers in the Crystal Rogers case, and slowly we're getting new information.
And that's so true. I even met a few women here today, not related to anyone in this case, but they wanted to be here because they too want those answers, just like so many people in the Bardstown community. But this court hearing today, it only lasted about 20 minutes. And during that time, we learned the tentative trial date was set for February 10th of 2025. Now, Brooks Houck, when he walked into court for his first appearance in person since being arrested for the murder of his former girlfriend, Crystal Rogers, in September, in a jail suit. His mother, sister, girlfriend, and other supporters sat behind him, with the family of Crystal Rogers on the other side of the courtroom. Special prosecutor Shane Young says 1.1 terabytes of discovery and evidence have been turned over to defense attorneys so far, with less than 1 terabyte yet to be handed over next month. Rogers' family friend said it was surreal to see all three suspects in court at the same time, while a Houck family friend who didn't want to give her name had some other words.
I'm glad it's all three together, and I hope they stay together that way. But there's some other people that's involved that they haven't got yet. I'm pretty sure that they will get them.
Nobody wins in this situation, not Brooks' family, not Crystal's family, and it's definitely not the damn kids.
The murder case will likely move to a different county, and the prosecutor, he wants to join all three cases together. Brooks Houck, Joseph Lawson, and Steve Lawson all into one trial, but the attorney for Brooks Houck says he will likely object to that motion.
And Joseph Lawson was the first person charged in this case, and in court today, his attorney asked that he be released on home incarceration. In orange jumpsuits, father and son Steve and Joseph Lawson entered the courtroom, Joseph in a wheelchair. Steve's attorney saying this is the first time they've seen each other since their arrest in connection to Crystal Rogers' murder.
They just saw each other in passing, nothing more.
What did Steve say?
No words were exchanged.
Ted Lavitt, Steve Lawson's attorney, says Steve's only involvement in the case was picking up Joseph, who was driving Rogers' car when he got a flat tire on the Bluegrass Parkway, then dropping off Joseph at a gas station. Lavitt wants Steve to be offered immunity.
It'll either exonerate him or not, one or the other.
In court, Joseph's attorney asked for his bond to be reduced from $500,000 to $50,000 unsecured, which means he wouldn't have to pay a bail unless he failed to show up for court. But prosecutors disagree on any reduction.
He also is a risk of obstructing justice in this case. It's because once he found out that he was a subject, targeted what happened to this young woman, he called around or texted around to associates or friends of his to cover for him, to give him an alibi that night of July the 3rd when she's missing.
Joseph's attorney says Joseph isn't a flight risk, and the evidence released in this case is incomplete.
Because obviously he would be monitored 24/7. And we would know his whereabouts at all times. I mentioned this in the written motion, but it's obvious the court concedes that he is paraplegic, which obviously goes towards the lack of him being a flight risk. And similarly, it goes towards the lack of him being a danger.
And the judge says he'll decide by the end of business on Monday about the bond reduction request.
And still a lot of questions in this case, like where is Crystal Rogers and what happened to Crystal Rogers? Now, it's also important to note we often hear from family members of Crystal Rogers, specifically her mom, Sherry Ballard, but we have learned that the prosecutor in this case has asked the family not to speak to media. Guys?
All right, Fallon, Val, thank you so much for your reporting today.